In this podcast episode, Ben Shapiro discusses the new tariff deal between the United States and China, the release of an American hostage in Gaza, and a controversial $400 million jet gift from Qatar to former President Donald Trump. The episode opens with Shapiro discussing the recent agreement between the U.S. and China to reduce tariffs. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has been instrumental in negotiating this deal, which aims to lower the current tariffs on Chinese goods from an astonishing 125% to a more manageable 10%. While tariffs will still exist, this move is seen as a step toward a more rational trade policy. Shapiro emphasizes that the previous high tariffs were unsustainable and that the new agreement reflects a necessary adjustment in U.S.-China relations. Shapiro elaborates on the geopolitical context, noting that President Trump's initial approach to China was widely accepted across the political spectrum as a necessary reset. He argues that the U.S. must continue to engage in trade policies that not only protect American interests, but also encourage the reshoring of critical industries away from China. The host expresses cautious optimism about the market's reaction to the tariff reductions, suggesting that while the initial spike in the stock market is promising, it may not be sustainable in the long run. The conversation shifts to the release of Idan Alexander, the last American hostage held by Hamas in Gaza. Shapiro shares his personal connection to the Alexander family, highlighting the emotional weight of this development. He notes that while the release is a positive outcome, it raises questions about what concessions were made to secure it. Shapiro expresses concern that any perceived leniency toward Hamas could set a dangerous precedent, especially given the group's history of violence and hostage-taking. The discussion touches on the broader implications of the hostage release, including potential shifts in U.S. policy toward Hamas and the ongoing conflict in the region. Shapiro argues that the U.S. should not entertain any notion of Hamas being part of a future governing structure in Gaza, emphasizing the need for a firm stance against terrorism. Shapiro then delves into the controversial news surrounding a $400 million Boeing 747-8 jet that Qatar is reportedly gifting to Trump for use as a temporary Air Force One. The arrangement has sparked significant backlash, with critics questioning the legality and ethics of accepting such a gift from a nation that has been accused of sponsoring terrorism. Shapiro points out that the Constitution prohibits the acceptance of gifts from foreign states, raising concerns about potential violations of emoluments laws. The host discusses the implications of this deal, suggesting that it could undermine Trump's agenda and provide ammunition for political opponents. He argues that the optics of accepting a luxury jet from Qatar, a country with a dubious record on terrorism, are problematic and could distract from the administration's policy goals. Shapiro emphasizes the importance of maintaining a clean image and avoiding any appearance of impropriety, especially given the scrutiny Trump faces from the media and political adversaries. Throughout the episode, Shapiro weaves in commentary on the broader context of U.S. foreign policy, particularly regarding Iran and the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. He expresses skepticism about the Biden administration's approach to negotiations with Iran, particularly concerning nuclear enrichment. Shapiro argues that any deal allowing Iran to continue its nuclear program would be a grave mistake and calls for a more aggressive stance against Iranian aggression. The discussion also touches on the situation in Ukraine, where President Zelensky has expressed a willingness to meet with Putin for peace talks. Shapiro notes that while dialogue is essential, it must be accompanied by concrete actions, such as a ceasefire, to be meaningful. He highlights the complexities of the situation, including the need for continued U.S. support for Ukraine in the face of Russian aggression. In a lighter segment, Shapiro addresses the recent controversies surrounding Kanye West, who has released a new song titled Heil Hitler. Shapiro critiques the normalization of extremist views in popular culture, arguing that such transgressive behavior is not only harmful, but also indicative of a broader societal issue. He expresses concern about the impact of social media on public discourse, noting that the desire for clicks and attention often leads to the promotion of dangerous ideas. Shapiro concludes the episode by reiterating the importance of maintaining a principled stance in both domestic and foreign policy. He emphasizes that while engaging with controversial figures and ideas can be tempting, it is crucial to uphold values that promote a healthy and constructive public discourse.